Summary. We're back with Paul Rappaport, of course, longtime promotion man for Columbia Records and the author of the amazing new book. It is Gliders Over Hollywood. Paul, how many years total did you work for Columbia Records?
Believe it or not, and this is kind of funny, I worked for them for exactly 33 and a third years,
Wow, look at
which is,
that.
yeah, when I left, when I finally left, because I left in March, which is a third of a year, I, I was trying to calculate this, right? And I thought it was really wonderful in a way because I'd made most of my living right before CDs came out by promoting 33 and a third albums.
Sure.
And when I walked out, I'm calculating this. I'm like, this can't be real. But I remember when I started in the fall of, whatever year it was. And I'm figuring this all out. And I'm like, I actually worked for this label for exactly 33 and a third years. And I looked up at the sky and I went, nobody else is going to care about this. But if this is a bow on my career up to this point, thank you, very much. This couldn't have worked out, more perfect.
Well, yeah, no, it was the magical RPM at the time. Of course, we had 45s coming up as singles, but 33. But the eras you came through, working college promotions out at UCLA, what an incredible market on the west side of LA, and then coming up with so many of these legendary A&R people and people that went on to form Rhino Records and all these incredible situations. Of course, John Kalodner goes over to Geffen and makes history again with the second act of Aerosmith, and of course Whitesnake, and all those great bands that were over there. What an incredible time! What do you miss most? For people that are still working in the industry, that your book tells that they'll never really know what it was like in the 70s and 80s.
What I miss most is the way that music was made, because in this era, the 70s, 80s, 90s, bands went into a studio and they played together as a group. When you do that, there's a magic that happens between musicians. There's a synergy that happens. There is a magic that becomes larger, right, than the sum of its parts. That magic gets recorded. Um, in today's world, a lot of the pop stuff is layered. You got like three producers, somebody lays down a drum loop, you got three songwriters. Um, it's different. I'm not saying that the music isn't good, it's good, but it doesn't have the same kind of soul. It can't. It's the human element. If you go in and just lay something on top of something else and somebody's laying another track on this and this and this, you can't get the same feel. It's not going to enter someone's heart the same way as a Tom Petty band or a Fleetwood Mac band all playing together as musicians. It's more like cotton candy. Like you eat it, it's great, you like it. 3 months later, you've forgotten about it. But we're still singing songs by Tom Petty and Fleetwood Mac and ZZ Top and the Rolling Stones, et cetera, because of the way the music was made as human beings together. And that could come back if somebody just says, "Hey, let's do this like we used to." That's of course you're going to miss the business and the characters, because the other thing is the accent today is on money. In my
Sure.
day,
And the
the
attention
accent,
spans too.
yeah, well, the accent was on art in my day. Make the best record you can, best
Yeah.
producer, best studio, get the best album cover, best promotion people, and the money will come. The money will come, as a result of all this. Today, it's kind of switched on its head. Somewhere along the line, the music business became the money business, and now it's more the money business. Well, how can don't leave any money on the table? How can we do this? How can we do that? If you don't leave any money on the table, then there's no money for an airship. There's no money to shoot a laser beam. Because that would be thought of as, oh, well, do we really need that? That's extra. Well, what that does in a promotion sense is huge, but today's mindset isn't that. It's more like just make make this as I don't want to say as cheap as we can, but let's just not spend any extra money. And so, so you don't have the same kind of fun, you don't have the same kind of big promotions. But I think, the accent has changed. So those are the two things for me. First, the musicians playing together, and and with the accent more on the marketing than necessarily on the on creating things as a unit together. People all together in a studio. So
Yeah, the creative collaborations, like
yes,
the
exactly.
artwork alone. Now it's almost an afterthought. Back then, the artwork was almost as important as the music.
Oh, definitely. Oh,
Because
that
when you
was well,
drop the
yeah.
needle, what are you doing? You're looking and reading the credits and opening the gatefold, and you might roll something up or clean the seeds, or I mean, it was just part of the experience.
Yes, exactly. It's a magical time. The whole thing was just, it was just this magical. It was Camelot for God's sakes.
Well, you captured it so well. The book again is called Gliders Over Hollywood. You'll hear in our bigger episode with Paul deep stories on Aerosmith, Paul McCartney, Pink Floyd, Bruce Springsteen, Ian Hunter, Journey, Blue Oyster Cult, Judas Priest, Elton John, Bruce Dickinson of Iron Maiden, Rolling Stones, Alice in Chains, and so much more. We can't thank you enough, Paul. Best of continued success with the book, and we can't wait to hopefully see you down the road. Thank you so
All
much
right.
for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.